You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Dean Johnson.
The AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California. Presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AFTERBUZZ TV's The Americans After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's The Americans After Show.
Here comes the flood, Jen. This is like, I mean, way to come out of the gate with our show and bring it to a screeching halt at the same time.
Yeah.
But I love, it's a lovely song by Peter Gabriel. We'll get to that in a second. I should say that I'm Joe Braswell, and I'm here with Jenifer Jen the Jew Golden.
Hi, everybody.
And we are doing the Americans AFTERBUZZ After Show. We are without our good friend Joe Sanfilippo, who will be here next week. And we are back with Jen. One day we'll all be together.
One day, the Three Musketeers.
We'll all be together, but until then, we have the lovely Peter Gabriel.
We do. He's our third.
He's our third. This was a song that ended the episode, so it's going to begin our episode. Very poignant song, very lovely song. I mean, it's not necessarily an 80s song. I think it's like 78 or 77. Someone on the internet will tell me. And then, or I can look at my own internet, which is right here. But a great song nonetheless. And it sort of sums up sort of where it made me feel like that, you know, this is the calm before the storm. We feel like that. I mean, you know,
yeah.
There's a lot of things happening with that, symbolically with that song, Here Comes the Flood. But just literally, we think like this may happen.
It was so slow, and I was like getting impatient. Like I felt myself getting antsy.
Right.
And I was like, what is happening? Why is it moving so slowly? Everything was like in slow motion. The song was slow.
Yeah.
And I know that that's because, like what you said, the calm before the storm.
I think so. I think there's a lot of symbolic meaning there. But I wanted to say, Ronald Reagan doesn't care.
Yeah.
That's what I got.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we are here and we're going to do the show. Like, there's a lot going on with the show, and you know, it continues to be wonderful. The acting continues to be great. No surprise there. The storyline continues to be everything we want it to be. The intrigue is there. But instead of, we didn't get a whole lot of super duper crazy spy shit this time. Stuff, I should say.
No.
Sorry. We did get a lot of sort of family emotion. You know, Elizabeth, a lot with Elizabeth and sort of her real sort of anchoring herself to what family means,
right.
What her children mean to her, what other people's children mean to them, what...
There was a lot of children in this episode.
There was. There was.
A lot.
So we had that whole theme. We'll talk about that. We did get to the bottom of this whole propeller situation, at least not to the bottom. We did go take a look at it
right.
In a great scene, which we'll talk about that as well. Our girl Paige is getting her little spy game on. Getting her Snoop on, not very well. I mean, it's kind of good. Her spy game needs a little work, but she needs
a lot of work.
She got some info, but she didn't exactly cover her tracks very well.
No, the only person she got one over was Henry.
Right.
When she said she was going to get jeans. Oh, Henry.
I'm going to get jeans in Georgetown. Henry's like, okay. Like
Henry, not the sharpest tool.
No, I mean, you know, Henry's a trusting soul, but yeah, Henry's spy game is really needs work. His spy game needs work. Paige is working on hers, but not quite good enough to fool Dad. Which we saw at the end, which is also a great scene. We'll talk about that as well. And also, we have to talk about Stan and his, you know, ever crumbling marriage and his ever, you know, his perpetual inability to even act like a human being around his wife, who is completely on a different planet, whether she's cheating on him or about to cheat on him or working in herself or doing things. It's almost like he's, as always, blissfully like, I don't care what's going on. Yeah,
man, that has to suck to be her.
Yeah, it does. Well, I mean, I think we'll talk about whether or not she's actually having an affair,
right.
Or she's clearly about to have an affair, I think. But whether or not this work she's doing herself is, you know, if there's something more than that work,
Right.
or if there's actually just, you know, that. And then we want to talk about as well the whole Nina situation. I mean, Nina is finally got what she wanted, which is the words, which I would have said in a second. It would have took me 10 seconds to say I love you, Nina.
That's because you love her.
I do. I love you, Nina.
You love her.
Easy. You got me. But it took Stan a while, so she finally got the words that Stan wanted, that she longed to hear, and she's very happy about that. So we'll get to that too.
Yeah.
Lots to talk about. I don't know, man. I mean, let's start with Paige. Let's start with Paige a little bit, because Paige, as we talked about last episode and last season, Paige is getting increasingly more curious about what's happening, increasingly more
She's
snoopy, and she's not stopping. Now, I gotta ask you, at that age, I mean, is this a like a you know, I don't know, a 14, 15-year-old girl thing? Is this just, I mean, I
don't know. I was a big snoop, and when people didn't tell me things, I mean, I'm still that way. If somebody's not going to tell me something, I'm going to go find it out for myself.
Are you like, you know, Instagram and
Absolutely.
and Facebook stalking and
I wouldn't call it stalking. I would call it research.
Okay, research, whatever you going to call it. Spy gaming.
You know what? I think that at an information age, it's out there. Why not find it for yourself?
They don't call it the information age for nothing.
Exactly. Like, you're putting it out, I'm going to go pick it up.
That's right. So you identify with Paige's like sort of snoop?
I do, and I also think that it's heightened by the fact that if she feels like there's being something hidden from her, there's more reason to snoop, which I think that's why people probably do it, not just because they're like, oh, la-da-da, nothing's going on, I'm going to snoop for fun. No, you think something's up, so you're going to go snoop.
Right.
So we see that she finds a card from Aunt Helen, which is where Elizabeth was taking care of her aunt when she was away for all that time, really being rehabilitated by some other woman in the woods somewhere.
Yeah, the Spy lady.
Exactly. And Paige hops on a bus, ditches school.
Yeah, so I mean I know it's to the 80s, and I know that, you know, we don't have a lot of things, and I know these are suburban Georgetown and suburban Washington kids, but that's still a big thing for a kid, you know. Is she junior high late, or is she early high school? I don't remember exactly what Paige's age is.
Unclear.
Whatever it is, but she's 13, 14. That's a big thing to be like, I'm gonna just hop a bus
and go to Pennsylvania.
Yeah, like that's not a small thing to do, but she did it, and the move where you didn't like, where she knocks on the door and then like... I
mean, she just wanders into somebody's house. What if somebody was like a killer? She assumed it was Aunt Helen, so... What
do you think she thinks she's going to find? Like, she's clearly on the hunt for something, and she knows something's not right, but, I mean, just speculate. What do you think she's going... What do you think
I'm not really sure, because... Why would she speculate about Aunt Helen versus all the other things that are going on?
Well, it's like things aren't right. Mom's not where she said she is. This doesn't add up. I want to check this thing out. But she can't.
And they've never met
they must
Aunt
be
Helen.
Spies. You know, I mean, it's something. I mean, I wonder what she thinks it is.
I'm not sure, but I like that we saw that Aunt Helen really is in on the whole thing.
Yes.
And so she played sick, like sick Aunt Helen would be, and. You know, then of course reported the fact that Paige came to see her to Philip.
But of course, she didn't call her Paige. Like, right? I mean, did she...
Well, when Paige walked in, she was like, oh, Shelley. And she was acting like somebody that might have Alzheimer's or like whatever it is. And there was clearly a picture of Elizabeth on the wall. So whether that's to make it look like she's really their aunt or because Elizabeth does mean something to her in some way, which we still don't know what that is.
Right.
It was Elizabeth with Paige as a baby, in the photo. So
I mean, it's some sort of safe house, and maybe she's some version of Instagram Ma, as we talked about. Maybe a new version of Claudia.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that I wonder if she is that, because why would she have sent a postcard and have an address?
Yeah, well, I mean, yes, it has to be like, you know, it has to, whatever it is, it fits into their cover story.
Right.
Their cover story
I can't wait to find out more about that.
Me neither. So she does make it back. She makes a friend on the bus. Now,
Kelly,
is Kelly trouble? She seemed like a nice gal to me.
No, I think what Kelly represents is that Paige is starting to talk to other people because she can't talk to her parents, and she may start revealing things that are not things that should be revealed.
Ew, that makes sense.
I think she's going to be like a loose lips kind of situation.
Right. I don't know. My parents are always blah, 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 blah.
And then we'll find out who Kelly's parents are.
Yeah.
Whom?
Gad. My name is Kelly Gad.
Right, exactly. It's going to be some convenient turn of events.
My name is Kelly Arcady.
Right.
I don't know.
I think Arcady's his first name.
I know. I don't know the Russian thing.
Maybe not. Somebody out there will correct me, I'm sure. Thank you.
No, I think it is Arcady. Yeah, the internet will solve that.
Yeah.
So she gets back, and so she makes friends with Kelly. She gets back, and she thinks she has the whole thing She thinks she has the whole thing sorted out, but yet Philip's there waiting. And because he has a phone call and he lets her have it as he should.
He let her have it, though, in a way where he would talk to somebody who's about to kill.
Yeah.
I wonder if he'd ever spoken to her like that before, because it sort of felt like, I don't know what, but he was like really out of control.
I was scared. I'm a grown-ass man and watching him through the TV, and I was afraid.
I feel like there's better ways to have handled what he did, and I think he almost reacted rashly versus like how he would outsmart a spy with subtle, I don't know, reverse psychology of some kind.
Right.
Instead, he went straight
he wanted to scare her, and there's ways to scare her as a dad. I'm a dad. I know how you can talk to your daughters and sort of scare your daughters, but he went back to his training, not as a father, but as a spy.
Yeah.
And I think it worked. Like I said, I was scared. So
she didn't seem to respect it.
Well, because she's their teenage daughters don't respect their dads.
But then that's why I think he should have used a different tactic if he was trying to scare her. Like maybe be like, Henry never came home.
Right.
You lost your brother. And then make her feel guilty or something, or
how do you come up with this stuff, Jen? See, I don't think like that.
Maybe I'm a spy. I don't
maybe.
know.
We'll talk about more stuff. Obviously, we're going to get into the rest of this, but before we do that, we have a couple of words from our favorite people and about some cool things that are happening. So we're gonna go to that right now.
Tuesdays on Oxygen.
I'm Maria Menounos, and my life can get a little crazy. I host Extra. I'm an actor, producer, dancer, wrestler, and a lot of other things. I live with Kevin, my boyfriend of 15 years. Do you really love me?
I would say that I'm in serious like.
And my parents. Yep. I just said I live with my parents.
You drive me crazy.
You drive me crazy. My parents want us to get married.
You both love each other. Get married.
Kevin and I don't. I am going to get married when I want to get married. I think I want kids. Kevin definitely doesn't want them now.
This is being pushed on to us.
And of course, my parents wanted them yesterday.
This year, you gotta have it.
And I have a house full of people counting on me financially. If I take my eye off the ball, everything can fall apart.
It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks or wants us to do. It's what we want to do.
Everyone thinks that they know what's best for me, but I'm really the only one. I have got to figure things out.
Chasing Maria Menounos is so new. Every Tuesday at 10, 9 Central, starting March 18th, only on Oxygen.
And there it is. So
it's very exciting.
We'll be checking that out. All of us will be checking that out March 18th. So, back to the Americans here. So Paige, we talked about Paige. So Paige sorted that whole thing out, went upstairs and is like, Dad, what do you know? Am I excused now? And then went and immediately called Kelly.
Right. Which is why I think that's going to get her into trouble. She also then asked Kelly if she wanted to hang out and took off. However, what we skipped over quickly was that because of the paranoia that Philip and Elizabeth feel like that there's people watching their house and all that, the center is sending somebody to just do surveillance on the children to make sure they've got eyes on them all the time, so Philip and Elizabeth can feel free to go do their work. But if Paige is off running amok through the city, then how can they track her?
Yeah, well,
unless they are, and then they're going to say where she's been and report her to Philip and Elizabeth.
So let's jump back to that. That's a great point, and there's some questions I have about that. But at the top of the show, we see there's this discussion about how are we going to keep our kids safe, which seems to be the primary concern, especially for Elizabeth at this point. And Philip sort of says, "Don't worry, the center's on it. They're going to keep someone with the kids." And kind of like
every time they say the center, I think of the Scientology Center. Because it sounds almost like cult-like. They're like the center.
But that's very us. That's very us, LA here.
Right.
The Scientology, or Clearwater, Florida. If you're listening in Clearwater, I'm sure you love. Anyway, so the center is going to watch the kids, and she says, "I do not like that idea. I don't like the idea of that. She's not into that."
She's like, "Do you feel comfortable?" And he's like,
Yeah, she's not into that, but so whatever. So I don't know what this means. I don't know what that means. Like you said, is that like it's the 80s, right? So 1984, 83, whatever it is. Are they going to have a tail? I mean, they're going to sign a detail to the kids. They can't exactly afford to have a detail. It's just how do they keep an eye on them? They can't slap a bug on them. It's 1983.
Right.
They can't put a chip in their cell phone.
I think there's somebody probably following them at all times because what Philip said was the kids will never see them and we will never see them.
Okay, so that begs the question.
That also could be, is nobody then watching them? Maybe.
Well, then yeah, but how the hell does Paige get all the way the F over to, whatever on the bus to see Aunt what's her name,
Helen,
with no one knowing?
Well, maybe somebody did know, but they're not going to reveal themselves to Paige because then their cover's blown. Like, why do my parents have a surveillance on me?
Yes, maybe it's Kelly.
Ooh, interesting.
Maybe Kelly. They recruit him younger and younger these days. Agent Kelly.
They do start young. I think they start at like, what, 16?
Yeah, that would be something. I mean, she's like really 23 and looks 16.
But I don't think she would have zero accent at that point. I think that comes later.
That's true. That's very true. Unless she was born here. I don't know. I don't know how it all works. Okay, cool. So that's that. So let's get into more the meat, which is the Philip and Elizabeth situation. The good news is, as far as their marriage, they seem to be closer than ever, right?
Yes.
I mean, this is probably as close and as together as we've seen them.
I like it. I would hurt last season when I would see them fight or like split up or move out or like sleep with other people.
Yeah.
Because they wanted to versus like because it was, a mission. And now that they're being, they're co-parenting and they are husband and wife and being cute. I'm enjoying that because I feel like I have less to worry about with that, and now I can focus on what's really going on with like the situations.
Right. I liked all the drama that brought last season. I did like the sort of the narrative of, we weren't really supposed to be in love, and then we fell in love, and then we're out of love. We have a mission to do, and we're split up, and we're divorced, and what are we doing here? I don't trust you. You want to defect.
Right.
I liked all the drama that brought together these people who were like forced to be together, who aren't necessarily in love.
It filled in a lot of those gaps for us with like how this actually gets done.
Exactly.
And why they're a family unit and why they actually have children. And I think that it was really interesting to see tonight also their parallel couple that had the same situation, but they seemed in love, or we don't know their story because I know that they love their children, which seems to be the case, but like we didn't know if they were really a couple or if they were just business partners.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about Emmett and Leanne, and it's hard to tell. I mean, they seem pretty, at least in that conversation when they had when they're drinking the beers in the car on the top of the car. It's almost like it was people talking about work, but it also it was a weird dual thing of like, we're both some folks just talking about work, but it's also we're two couples talking about our family. So it's hard to say. I mean, but they were a lot more willing to use their kids on their missions than, than Elizabeth and Philip are. But then that letter was written, so there's some care there. I don't know. That's a tough one. That's a real tough one.
It's strange. I mean, I think that we'll probably see more about that because we did see tonight, flashbacks of Leanne telling Elizabeth things and confiding in her and asking her to promise her that she will deliver that letter to their son Jared if they died.
I wonder. I keep getting hung up. I keep getting hung up on the sex. Okay, so I'm just gonna go back. I'm hung up on the fact that like how much sex is just a clinical part of their job, and and what part of sex do they enjoy?
You're saying like when she went to Philip and was like, "I'm ready."
Yes, well, I'll get to that in a second. I'm talking about last week when I'm still just hung up on this notion of this threesome that the two husbands walk in and their wives.
Oh, that was even like 2 weeks ago, wasn't it?
It was 2 weeks ago. Yeah, the two husbands walking in and their wives.
Oh no, that was last week. You're right.
Yeah,
2 weeks ago.
I think that was a premiere. Yeah,
yes.
That was so walking on their wives doing the do, and it's just all part of the mission. And then it's kind of like, well, let's all go have a beer after.
Right. I mean,
it's like it's nothing. Yeah, this is the swinging '80s, the age of the swingers, but it's just a job. There's not like, hey, you guys want to finish this thing off somewhere else? I don't know. It's just the whole thing is like nuts to me. Elizabeth is clearly, at least it feels like once a week having sex with someone else. Philip is living with someone else having sex. It doesn't appear to be anything that
Martha
and Nina, Nina is having sex with Stan and clearly does not want to be there doing that.
Device to get what they want.
I don't know if is that something to be said about the way the Russians get down, or if that's just the way the spies do it. I don't know. It's just I'm really hung up on it.
The Russians are having sex with the Americans,
right?
So the Americans clearly get down like that too. Wait, I want to clarify also for people that are watching us that see me rubbing my eye. Something is going on in the atmosphere. I'm super sad.
No, you're sad. It's fine.
I have something in my eye, and it is going to kill me, and I'm going to continue rubbing my eye. So sorry, everyone.
Rub your eye away.
It hurts.
You look lovely.
Thank you.
For those of you in iTunes,
I probably have eyeliner like streaked down my face.
Yeah, so anyway, I forget the sex. I mean, the sex is weird, but I don't understand it. But speaking of which, we do get that scene from 1967, the flashback scene.
I love the flashbacks.
I do like the flashbacks.
I'm in for the flashbacks.
And, you know, and then we get the hair, and then they're all very innocent looking, and they do look sort of young.
I want to know how they make them look so much younger.
Yeah, it's 15 years. That's a good, you know, there's youth makeup people who do that. And there's
like darker hair and like, you know, makeup and all that. But.
Sure. And so that's 15, it's roughly 15 years ago. Yeah. But I mean, this is the second time, by the way, this show does this to me. You take a perfectly, probably someone who you know, one of the most attractive, sexiest women around in Carrie Russell, and you completely make her as unsexy as possible.
With that bra?
I mean, not only with the bra itself, but just with the like, I am ready. Let's have some sex. You are my father.
Well, that's the thing is she was super robotic about everything she did because she was just there to do a job.
I'm the Elizabeth Bot. Eep, orp, op. Let's have sex. Like, that was not...
That was our whole complaint last season. We were like, feel something, woman.
Yeah. And Philip's reaction was like, okay.
No, he was like, are you sure?
Yes.
As robotic as her.
Yes, I am sure. Let's go do it. Like, I don't know.
And then we see a baby.
Yeah, and then cut to a baby. Like, anyway. So, you know, Paige was not exactly conceived out of love.
No, you had a hard time with that. You're like,
yeah.
what?
I'm like, no wonder
there
Paige
wasn't
is
love
all...
here?
Yeah, Paige is, you know... Yeah,
no, it's to keep up appearances. They have these children, so they look like a normal family and can
I hope
fit
they
in
had
with...
fun at least. I mean, did they at least enjoy? She looked like she wasn't even... It wasn't something she was going to enjoy.
No,
well,
she didn't like him then.
Yeah.
She grew to like him like... last season.
That's very true. And then she was very much like, well, yeah, I'm ready. You'll make a good father.
Right.
You're
a
good enough guy. Let's get it done.
Hey, you know, sometimes less is more.
Yeah, I guess.
That's all it took.
And what they did the same thing to my girl Nina last year. They completely desexualized her by having her type up the acts of withstand on the typewriter.
Oh.
Like, you know, it's very much like, and then we did this, and then we did that. It's
well,
like,
that I think is also to show that they are very committed to their job and they will do anything that it takes.
Sure.
And that's my story. That was all I had to say.
So we knew from last week that you know, when Philip went to go talk to our man, the asset, that there is a situation. They have to find out the machine, the propeller, what's going on, the place. So they do have to go and hurry up and do this mission.
Right.
So we get to see some wigs, and I gotta say the wig game is pretty tight this year so far.
This season,
the wig game is up, right?
I was gonna say the disguises don't irk me as much.
Yeah, I mean
they're real disguises now.
They're getting my notes. I think Joe and I talked about this last week, but like I think they're getting our notes on the wigs. The wig game is up.
Watching FX. Hello? Call
I
us.
think they are. I mean, the wig game is up, so they actually looked really, you know, good. And they went in there and they did the thing, and we had a very, very, very cool, well played, well acted, very sort of ominous, scary scene where you know, Elizabeth does a very subtle move of grabbing the crowbar and letting my man know.
I liked that. Like that's I feel like what they should have done with Paige. More of like
grab a crowbar?
No. But like
where did you go?
Not saying I'm gonna possibly kill you, be afraid, but like I don't know why I have a crowbar in my hand. Do you know why?
Right.
I like when she was like, oh no, he said that his tactic was so great when he showed his pictures of his children to her.
Oh yeah.
Because and that, you know, plays into what you were saying about how everything goes back to the family and
sure.
And
that's the button she can press. Now last
knew that was her
crowbar to the head, right?
Well, no, because yes, I would say crowbar to the head because
he goes for the wallet and she like clanks him over the head.
Right. Last season, I think she only cared about her kids. Now she cares about other people with children because of what just happened with her friends Emmett and Leanne.
Well, more specifically, she doesn't want to she can't like have someone be parentless.
Right. I think
she's not going to be the cause.
She's
of
evolved in that way.
Of kids being parentless in the world, you know, because that's the worst thing that could happen.
Why he decided to show her pictures of his children? It's a smart move, but don't know why he thought to do that unless it was like
I have a family and they're expecting me home for dinner.
Listen, I give it to him for thinking that quickly on his feet. So he showed her. She obviously, you know, has a soft spot for that, and so she didn't end up killing him, but she did. So smart, took a picture of one of his children, essentially to say, I know what your kids look like. I know where you work. I will kill your child or take your child if you tell anyone about this.
Well, I mean, again, that's a move that she had to do because she really was supposed to kill him in that situation, but she felt like that she didn't, and she didn't have to, and that's a good move.
I want to know what the spy manual says. Like, kill in this circumstance, don't kill in this.
Yes, I'm
Other
sure.
options for killing.
On page 432 in the
Encyclopedia of Spies.
I will say, like, you know, Kerry Russell with the acting, I feel like, whether for my money, whether she had a crowbar or not, the icy look she gave him was such a menacing, scary look. She's like, what are we going to do about this? Like, the crowbar could have been across the room, and I would have been terrified. I'm like, I don't know. What do you say? What are we doing? So he was very scared of her. And I'm like, well, she's a woman. He could probably do a move, but she meant business.
Yeah, he got it. Yeah. Whatever she was putting out, he got.
Yeah.
So
it's the same thing. It's the same move that Philip did on Paige at the end of the show, like Elizabeth did on my man there, and it worked. It put the fear of God into him. So they went to the propeller. He like under pressure, like, oh, but the propeller's still here, and they went. They took some photos. They got the schemes down. They were able to get most of the information they need through their super spy cam. That was kind of cool. And there's a little moment where it looked like Philip was kind of like, "What are we gonna do?" You know, and like there's just like a look of like,
I'm glad that Philip didn't go and kill him for her, because I was a little afraid that was going to happen, and then I'm glad it didn't.
So did you think, like, while that was happening, did you think, I mean, it was a well-played scene, because it was like, we as the audience know what Elizabeth's capable of. We know how ruthless she can be. We know, you know, how she gets down. We know what she's capable of. We also saw Philip in the opener of the season 1 kill the poor, you know, busboy, like, because he had to go. So we know these guys aren't messing around. They don't want to leave. This is not, you know, they're spies doing their job. So did you think my man was going to get the crowbar to the dome or what?
I didn't think so.
Okay.
I just didn't.
You just didn't think so?
Okay. No, I mean, I could have gone either way, really. Maybe I didn't know.
I didn't.
I'm not going to commit to one or the other.
It was well played, because I really thought, like, I know what they're doing here. I know why they're doing it. But
what is that propeller for?
We don't know yet. I think Joe and I theorize that it's maybe part of some stealth. You know, maybe some stealth submarine or some submarine technology that's gonna. We initially thought it was stealth technology for the sky, but the size of that thing looks like it's for a submarine or for something. So it's probably some sort of like run silent, run deep kind of situation. I don't know.
Interesting.
I have no idea.
Well,
we'll find out. But it's a large propeller. Didn't look like anything that would go on a plane. And maybe it did. I don't know. I didn't get a look at it. Internet, tell us what that propeller is for. So they go and they take care of that mission, and that was a successful mission, and I think it was well executed. They got what they needed. They didn't have to kill anybody. They're good at their job. Yay, Philip and Elizabeth. And it's weird, because I like to see them do their job. I like to see them do it well. Hey, if they don't kill innocent people, then it's great. We can still root for them as our anti-heroes without feeling bad about our lives when we're rooting for them to kill busboys. You know, like, that's like a bummer.
Yeah. I can't handle those scenes. They get me.
Yeah. Okay. So that happens with
someone did die though in this episode.
Someone did die, and we'll get to that right now. So we were able to handle that with them. You know, the mission was a success. We love all that. Philip goes back and develops the pictures. All seems to be right in the world. I do want to go back to the Elizabeth and Jared situation. Before that, I do want to touch on what's going on with Stan. You know, so we see Stan. We first see Stan. Well, we see Stan at home, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know what's going on with Mrs. Beeman there. Like, I don't.
Okay. Well, when she came on screen, I was like, wait, they're still married? I was just curious as to why that is the case, and if they just didn't get divorced back in the 80s. But I think that's when it started.
Yeah, no, we had that. We talked about that last season. How it was a big deal. This was sort of like, you know, the Kramer versus Kramer time when divorce was really the numbers were peaking in this time.
Right.
But they stayed together. They seemed to work it out. But as it felt like in episode 2. Like, she's got one foot out the door.
I think she's up to no good. I don't know what that is, but didn't we think at some point, like, Philip would hook up with her or something?
Yeah, I think that was one of our weird predictions from last season. It doesn't appear that that's going to happen. I thought that Philip would hook up with her in order to get more information from Stan, and that still could happen, but I don't know.
I don't know either, but it does seem like we could speculate that she either is having an affair and doing her own thing,
right,
or she's really trying to work on herself.
Yeah, and well,
I like that. I think maybe she's trying to work on herself because she did respond so snarky. Not snarky, actually. She responded so quickly and angrily to when Stan was like, "Have fun," at her seminar that she was going to.
Right.
And I mean, it sounds like it's Tony Robbins kind of thing.
So that wasn't fun, you know.
She's like, it's not fun.
Right.
It's work. I'm working on myself.
Yeah.
Because I don't know why she's working on herself when she should be getting the hell out of that relationship.
Yeah, working on getting the hell out
There's
of there.
nothing you're going to fix about yourself other than divorce in this situation.
Yeah.
Like,
which isn't done.
She's not the problem.
There's kids. She's not the problem. I think that's, you know, easier said than done. But I will say that, yeah, I had the exact same reaction. I wrote down, like, she's clearly cheating on him. It's clearly happening. And then, you know, because her response is so like, oh, what are you doing? And her response was always like, I'm getting ready. It just feels so like, I don't know. Maybe that's just me being a suspicious dude. I don't know. But I'm like, But like you said at the end when she said, you know, have fun.
I feel like she would have been like, cool, bye, if he said that and she wasn't really going there. She would have just been like, gotta go.
So maybe the person that she's doing the self-help work with will be the guy that she hooks up with.
And I hope that is now the case. I mean, I don't condone cheating by any means, but like,
yeah,
homegirl needs to get out of this relationship.
I agree. I think the larger, you know, sort of piece here that is happening is that you have a situation where you have a Stan who doesn't miss a thing, who's in the FBI. He's
in his own home.
He's a great at not missing details and solving everything. And yet the biggest detail, his own wife is off doing God knows what. Maybe she's talking to the Russians.
Well, I think that also
he's missing it.
I think that's a sign of not only the times, but also Stan is going like for information from Nina outside of his home, but inside of his home, he has his wife that he has no idea what's going on with her, and his neighbors that he has no idea what's going on. So literally under his nose are like several answers to things. Sure. But he's always looking for other things. I feel like he's distracted easily, or I don't know what
No, he's distracted easily by Nina's.
Right. We still need to see more flashbacks of his time prior.
I think we will. I think that I think he mentioned that we will get to see some more backstory on Stan because we have this whole gap. Like something happened to Stan when he went deep cover with the biker gang, and
I want to know what made him the way he is, but also like
he saw some
sloppy.
shit, right? He saw some stuff. So like he's definitely. But I think right now all it is really is he's got Nina. You know, like he's got Nina. That's his number one focus. He's very happy. His number two focus is his job and everything around the job and what's happened with the FBI. Again, he did kill a guy in cold blood last season. That did happen too.
He did.
So he does have his own ish to work through. So
do we think that he really loves Nina, or is he playing her too?
He's so not. Joe Flip and I talked about this. Like he is so getting played. He is not like the thing is here. Well,
he's getting played for sure, but like, do we think that he really loves her, or is he playing her too?
Well, here's the thing. I think that's a good question because we talked about this. The whole thing with Stan is thing with Stan and Nina is Stan thinks he's working her. Right. Like Stan thinks that he's so charming and sexy and he's got the moves and he's got one up on her. He needs to also subtly
ask things. He asks her things the minute she walks in the door. Yeah. It's like, whoa. You gotta like romance her a little bit.
Well, you know, he really he thinks that she's got her like, yeah, this chick's really into me and I'm into her, but like, I got her. Like the way he talks to Gad, like my source, Gad's in on it. Gad helped get the apartment. The apartment is the whole thing. Like so, it's how's your source?
Stan's a little arrogant.
Well, there's some arrogance there. The arrogance was there, and the swag was there last week when she fed him the information on my man, whatever his name is, on Bruce. She gave him the Bruce information. He came swagging into Gad like, guess what?
Wait, Bruce no, his name is...
I forget his last name, but...
Bruce is the guy that Philip went to go see.
No, Bruce is...
Yeah, Bruce was...
Daradan.
I think those are two different people.
They are?
Bruce was Emmett's, source.
No, Fred is Emmett's source.
Fred.
Yeah.
Now they're just throwing out names in my eye and everybody.
No, Fred's Emmett's source and Fred knew Emmett as Paul. It was very confusing.
Got it. The names. The names and the disguises. I can't keep up.
Fred's Emmett's source, but Emmett didn't know him as Fred. Emmett knew him as Paul.
Right.
So that's that. But Bruce Daradan is the guy who's after. So, but last week when when Nina gave him Daradan, he came swagging in to Gad like, yeah, I got this.
All he got was one piece of information, like home slice. You didn't get everything.
I know, but he thinks this is the point. He thinks that he's working Nina because, and then there's that movie like in last week when he's like, Nina, tell me, and he kind of gives her a little kiss and a little hug. And it's like, well, maybe I'll tell you. It's like this whole, she's working him, but it's like Stan's thinking like, let me just give her a little loving. She'll spill everything.
I mean,
really, Stan. So anyway, to answer your question, I think Stan thinks he's working her, but he's completely getting warped clearly, and I think that I mean, it's Nina. So yeah, like.
But you don't think that he's playing her?
Hell to the no.
Okay, so he really loves her then.
I think so. I mean, that would be revealed like he may do a double reverse.
That would be the super double Brett Favre if that was the case.
I do not think that's the case. I would
give it to the Americans for that.
I'm rooting for Nina in this, and I like Stan. I do like Stan, and I do like Noah Emmerich, but like I'm rooting for Nina to sort of like.
Nina is like a victim of circumstance.
Sure.
Her friend was killed. She doesn't trust Stan, who was supposed to help her get out of the country or get her whatever she was getting. And he basically like trapped her. So I feel like he's getting what he deserves, and she's taking matters into her own hands.
She is, and we're not with her hands though, but she's taking matters in somewhere. So she does. So when she gets back, when she finally gets Stan to say "I love you," which is what she's been waiting for,
right? Because she knows once he loves her, she has him in her hand.
And there's that like look in her face, which is like, "Gotten you now, mother effer!" Like, aha! And then
Sucker.
I loved it that scene where she's actually typing up the report, and we don't need to know what she's saying, but yeah, she's just gleefully.
She's like,
She's got a little smile on her face,
totally.
Like,
got you.
Got you. He said, I know, I'm winning. And so, and then, Mr. Slick, Ole comes in with his all Western, his Western swag. Do you think that she's into him? I don't know. We didn't talk about this last week.
Nina?
Nina is into the Oleg,
I think she was originally, because we had said that. We were like, oh, new blood. Like, that's her replacement of that guy that was there.
Yes. Because he's always coming in flirting and talking about concerts and hockey.
Did you talk about him last week?
We did. We talked about the fact that like he's just so Western.
I think he might be playing that.
I did too. That was my prediction last week.
I think because he's super spy-tastic in his own house, basically.
Yeah.
Like he's literally asking Nina about things going on there. Shouldn't he just be like, we're all on the same team going in the same direction? Like, I got you, you got me. We're doing the same tasks and stuff. So he doesn't seem that way. He seems like he's up to no good and like could be leaking information on the other end.
Sure. My prediction last week that he's basically Arcadie's replacement. I think that he's going to end up for sure the boss. Ooh. Like something's going to happen and Oleg's going to be sitting. Nina's going to come in one day and Oleg's going to be like, "What do you got? Tell me what you got. Give me." And he's like, "What are you doing here?" "Oh, Arcadie, he's back in Russia." It's back
in Russia.
It's all me now, baby.
Right.
Tell me what you got.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, to answer your question, I think she may be intrigued by him.
Yeah.
Because she, I think, is going to go to that game or whatever it is, or the musician, or what is he?
Hockey.
Hockey.
Yeah, I don't know. He's spitting all kinds of Russian game at her.
But I think that she likes a man that's in control, not one that she disrespects, but one that she respects. So. Right. Now Stan has crumbled at mush, and like I think
I love you. Now she's like, this guy sucks.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think she's probably going to be into this dude.
Now, what about that?
She needs like a friend anyway. Yeah. She's got no one. She probably is going to like search for love in all the wrong places as well.
How about that weird interaction with her and Arcadie when she's kind of like,
I'm always confused by that.
But she's just like, I'm up to the task. I'm doing it. Guess what? I even got, and she's very much like ready to. Well, he told me he loves him. Like, boom, give me a reward. And she's like, well, you're finally worth something. Like,
and also he was like, well, he should be a lot more indebted to you.
Right.
That doesn't make sense. He got an award.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. So I don't know. So we had that whole thing. We just two quick things we have to touch on. Obviously, Stan went and found our guy through the tip. Went and found our guy on the roof.
But I was proud of him for putting it together because he realized that the guy who had worked there for 6 months clearly didn't have things in his desk, which means he's not planning on staying very long, and he's probably not doing a lot of work.
The question I have with that is, we know that Nina fed him that information, but was it all along? Was the whole thing just a big feed? Like, let's give the FBI this guy, and because
I think that yes, probably is the case, and it also shows if it's on the news that Americans are turning against America, and the wars that we start are actually harming us on our ground,
right?
And causes that kind of issue. However,
it did bring up some politics in terms of why guys like this turn, and his whole big Ronald Reagan, whatever he said about Ronald Reagan at the beginning, I forget that I opened the show with.
Yeah,
Ronald Reagan doesn't care, so that was interesting to sort of get those politics and how that affects. And then even Gad had that talked about Walter Reed and these guys and the war and blah blah blah. So that's interesting. We'll see. There was a bit there that I thought that was slightly interesting where I thought Stan was sort of like, you know, not cracking, but a little bit of like, yeah, what fight are we fighting here? Like maybe not like Costanza loyal, he does his job, but there's a moment where I felt like, you know, when Ronald Reagan doesn't care, like maybe he's like, does Ronald Reagan care? What are we fighting for?
I don't know. I think he's pretty into what
True
he
blue?
does.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, last thing I'm going to say before we get out of here is I want to talk about, we have to talk about the confrontation and the big thing with Elizabeth and my man Jared, who nice piece of acting by Jared, by the way.
Totally.
Very, very nice piece of acting by Jared. I mean, he really broke my heart.
I was thinking that too. I was like, wait.
He broke my heart. That was some real grief.
Young, talented man can cry.
And there's also some real grief where he expressed that I had an ear infection and I went in the pool. My mom told me not to.
Right, and originally Elizabeth went there to go give him this letter from his parents and acted as a child care services person. And instead she talked to him because she really genuinely cares about his well-being. And he revealed when she says, you know, you can grieve, you can do whatever, you can take time off and you know, what do you need? We'll give you whatever you need. And he actually said, he opened up and he cried because he had an earache and he didn't want to talk about it or go to the doctor because he was in the pool, which he shouldn't have been in. And his mom didn't want him to swim. And if he didn't swim, he feels like he would have been there to help. He wouldn't have been there to help.
No.
Him versus a gun, he would have just been dead too. And unfortunately.
Elizabeth knows that. So the old Elizabeth, season 1 Elizabeth might have been like, that's a bummer. Here's a letter from your mom. I got to go.
Right.
But this season 2 Elizabeth is like, oh, I'll keep this letter. I'll fold it up.
You're already hurting
nice
enough.
fold.
Like, you don't need to know that your parents were spies.
And also, the general sense is Jared's probably going to be okay. Like, she pretty much assessed that he's grieving properly. This is a bummer, but he is going to go to school. It's what his parents would have wanted him to do. He has something to live for. He has a bright future. Let this kid be. I'm not going to F up his life
What
with
did
this
they
letter.
say, though, was the reason they got shot, like, outwardly?
I don't remember. Internet. I don't remember. I think it's just a senseless crime. I don't think there was like this happened to them. So a burglary, a crime. So she does do that. She folds up the paper to the Peter Gabriel song and very ritualistically, I might add, sort of burns this paper, which is a cool. Is that like just a cool spy way of burning paper? I never. That's a good little move there.
No, I think that
I don't know that move.
Probably.
Or was it ritualistic and symbolic of like she's dying, or is that just the way you get rid of stuff, or is that just a move I'm not aware of?
No, I think it was something. I don't know what it is because I don't specialize in burning paper.
All right. What's the last piece of paper you burned?
My resolutions for what I don't want to happen this year.
Okay, good.
You're supposed to burn the things you don't want so that you don't hold them in and you get rid of them.
Did you fold them in 18 little folds?
No, I didn't make it. I didn't make it an accordion.
All right.
I folded it so it would just burn quicker in the fire.
So that's a lot. So we got some cool previews from next week, which is some things that like we see that Instagram Mom's back.
Yep, Claudia's is back.
Margot Martindale, so that's interesting. We know she's going to be back for a couple episodes this season.
And she reveals that there are people. What did she say? Like that they're coming for them.
Yes, I think that
something?
we get the sense that things are supposed to be ramping up. It looks like we get some real action, some crackerjack action next week, so that'll be fun to check out. The show is still good. Even this episode is not much spy shit. I mean, not much spy action, but. I keep saying it, but it was still a great episode.
It was a great episode.
Let's just jump into predictions and get out of here.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
So I'll go first.
You go first.
Because I want to. So I predict that our little Paige is going to mess things up in a serious way. I think that she's going to either, reveal something she shouldn't to the wrong person, or I think that she will get abducted or something like that's going to happen because she's not under surveillance. And Homegirl is going to really ruin some stuff. And I think that maybe Philip and Elizabeth might have to tell her something or do something to get her to stop snooping.
They're going to have to do something. I don't know if it's going to tell her that we're spies, and I do agree that my prediction is very similar. I think that Paige is going to get, put them in a position to where they're going to have to sort of contain Paige. I don't know what that thing's going to be, but they can't say, well, we're spies, but they'll have to say something that can to help her because this is the only way they can protect her. Right now, they can't protect her when she's out blabbing her mouth all the time, which is unfortunate.
Zip it, Paige.
Zip it. Get your spy game up. Jen, where can we find you?
At Jen the Jew on Twitter and Instagram, and Jenifer Golden on Facebook and my website.
You can find Joe Sanfilippo's not here at Joe Flippo on Twitter and at josephsanfilippo.com on his website. You can find me, Joe Braswell, on Twitter and Instagram at Joe K. Braswell. Thanks for tuning in for episode 3 of The Americans. We will see you next week, hopefully with all 3 of us.
Yeah, and don't forget to watch Chasing Maria.
Yes! 18th.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.